Running the beach for cobia is one of my favorite ways to fish. Finding a big pot of fish, or a big ray with a fish on it, leads to an excitement that, in my opinion, is second to none. We devoted 2 days looking high and low for an opportunity to sight cast one of these aggressive fish. Along the way, we found some epic stuff and closed out the adventure with my new favorite recipe. So join us for the next 48 hours as we chase one of my favorite fish of all time. There we go.
Good morning, everyone. We're out on the Mako today, and we're up on the east coast of Florida looking for some cobia. We're actually in the river right now. I got my main man, Chris. You guys are OGs to the channel. You know me and Chris have known each other forever. He's been in tons of the old videos, and we've been fishing together since well before I ever picked up the camera. We also got my man, Sun's Out Fishing, who some of you might know, some of you might not know. He's up and coming as a fishing YouTuber. He's trying to make it happen. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to catch Tyler's first cobia of all time today. And Chris, have you ever caught one on a jig? I can't remember.
No.
Hopefully catch Chris's sight fish, Chris's first on a jig. This is a very, very cool fishery. We can keep 2 over 36 inches today. So that's the goal. Fingers crossed. Let's see if we can make it happen.
So as we cruise down the beach, we're keeping our eyes peeled for anything that a cobia might be following, or just cobia themselves. Sometimes cobia will cruise on top, migrating themselves down the beach, or they'll hitch a ride with something like this manta ray. Now, I didn't capture this shot. Shout out to my boy Victor Landshark Outdoors for sending me this drone clip. This is exactly what we're looking for this morning. Cobia riding on the back of one of these big manta rays. So we were just out looking for something, looking for manta rays specifically, but we just stumbled upon a bait school. I just tied on a sabiki. We'll see if it's a bait's worth keeping or not.
On the bottom.
That's a better one, whatever it is. We have a pogie. Smaller pogie. Guys, these are great baits.
I mean, those little ones might stay alive.
Yeah, these are great baits, but they don't live very well. So we'll try and throw a couple in the well real quick just to have some insurance in case we come on some finicky cobias. But if not, they still work dead. Hit accessory well. There you go, buddy.
Gotta give him a revival.
That's a butterfish.
Definitely don't.
Definitely don't want these.
I'll buy you lunch if it's sticky.
These ones don't hurt as bad as the skinny ones. The leather jacks. I mean, I always called those hornbellies, but you might be right. That might be the proper name. The leather jacks, the skinny ones. Come on, be the right kind of bait. That's the smallest butterfish of my life. Wish these guys worked as bait, y'all, but most fish don't really like them that much, so it's not worth keeping in my opinion. We left the bait school because it just didn't really seem like much was happening, but as we continued to cruise down the beach, we saw a giant manta ray completely jump out of the water about a half a mile away from the boat. So we ran over to the area that we saw it jump and tried to find it.
It's giant.
Oh my god, buddy. Get
Come on. You can go a little bit faster, Chris. Okay, y'all, so I just saw a big manta ray jump out of the water twice. Very, very great possibility that there's a cobia on this thing. They were around yesterday up here, so I'm gonna try and ease on up here, hopefully not run the thing over, but the water's not super clear. So if this thing goes down, we're not gonna be able to find him. So hopefully he stays on top and we'll get a look at him, see if we can find a cobia on him. Got the jig rod ready, see what we can do. Yeah, like right in this area. Dude, it's tough in this water. They go down and you can't find them. But we'll idle around this area now.
No, right there, right there.
That was a bird. Or there's one. Good chance there's more. So this is an area to remember. All right, we just threw the drone in the air. We're in a decent looking area. Just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. So in addition to just getting some cool shots for you guys, I'll keep an eye out, see if we're not missing any manta rays in this area.
I didn't spot any manta rays with the drone, but what I did find was this nice school of jacks that was just kind of daisy chaining here. So we decided to put the boat in gear, run over there, and try and catch one real quick, just to, get a fish in the boat for fun.
Left of the drone. Don't hit the drone. Cast it in front of them for sure. And then they eat it.
Someone just sent the tech rod right into Ryan's drone accidentally.
Alright, leave us an idle. I'm gonna land the drone. You don't mind stepping down from there, my dude?
Sure. Doesn't feel huge, but definitely fun. Ryan, or Chris is going for the double. Alright, check this thing out. Ryan spotted it with the drone. Super cool, Jack Crevalle. These are awesome fish, like I was saying, they get a ton of hate, but they grow big, they pull like hell, and they're really aggressive. So with these fish, the best thing to do, you just head dive them to release them.
Soak your camera.
Soak my camera, let the water.
So far we found that one big manta ray, but never got on top of it. We just saw it jump in, went into the area, and didn't find it. We actually saw it jump again, ran back towards it, but another boat got there first, and it looked like that boat caught a short cobia off of it. So they were right place, right time. They lucked out. Now we're turning our sights back to what we came out here for. We're looking for those big manta rays, looking for cobia. These things, they do a little bit of everything. They free swim, they follow turtles, they follow sharks, they follow manta rays, but where we are right now, manta rays really seem to be the ticket, and there's lots of manta rays up here. So fingers crossed that we can find them. Typically where there's one manta ray, there's gonna be more. So that's what we're hoping for. And we're not the only boat out here doing it. We're just got other people out here doing this, and the fish have been around, so fingers crossed that we find the right one.
After around 30 minutes, we saw our first nice manta ray within casting range.
Yeah, just keep on at this speed. I don't think we're gonna spook him or anything. The better cast I make, the less likely I am to snag him and do something dumb. Trying to get eyes to see if I see a fish on him, but I'll take a cast real quick. Let it sink.
That one, like many during the day, ended up being empty, just cruising down the beach with no friends.
So I just lost the jig I was fishing because I'm a Guggen, but I want you guys to check out this jig. It's actually custom made Miami Dolphins jig that a buddy made for me way back in the day. I actually caught a 47-pound cobia on this exact jig off of Navarre Pier a long time ago. I decided to bring it out of retirement. So missing an eyeball, things bend through it, but it's still got some fish left in it for sure. I don't think it's a manta ray. I don't see anything.
I think so. I think Staal is moving right. Probably Jack.
Yeah, it might be Jack's again.
They're on top of him. It's all Jack.
Yeah, they don't really like the cobia jig too much. Oh, one just swirled on it. Keep an eye on him. Is that him right there still?
Yeah, we'll go neutral.
Did he just go down?
Yeah, he went down.
If I wear the flat bill, like that.
I looked down at my GoPro and he's missing. Was that his wake?
Yeah.
Yeah, it just disappears into the abyss, huh? These things are being elusive today. Not only did I kook the first one that we actually had a shot at, the second one, I was fumbling with the GoPro, and as I looked down at the GoPro and then looked back up, the thing dove down and then it was just gone. You know, we're in like 40 feet of water right now, and it may look kind of green, and you'd expect that you wouldn't lose, you know, a 10-foot long giant black ray, but they just disappear, man. And so you got to make the most of the shots if they don't stay on top. So we're gonna keep scanning this area. It's good. We've seen 2 fish in this, or 2 rays in this area. So hopefully there's a lot more. Oh, Ressl! Ressl in the cut!
Boy.
Back at it again, Ressl in the jacks.
They wanted the old Coke jig. Joke's on you. I got the one cove that was in the jig.
I think I saw a silver. Look at him on top over there. Pass it on, Tyler. What you got, my man, Ressl? Back at it again.
Jackster.
Man bought that rod at a garage sale. Thing's probably older than all 3 of us.
100%.
Straight out of 1950.
They don't make blanks like this anymore, though.
Look at that U-bend.
Beautiful.
You just wanted so badly to pull on a fish with that rod.
I just wanted to catch something.
Yeah, fair enough.
Stuck driving all day.
Fair enough. You're already doing better than I was. You got a grown one, buddy. You got a grown one. Buddy's getting the business right now.
Buddy's pissed.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't think he was this big when I hooked him.
No, they look pretty big. They're at least 20 pounds.
Yeah.
Alright, check it out.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a grown one.
that's 30. Oh. Oh. Yeah, that's the smelliest jack of our lives. Don't calm down. Wow. Wow. Look at that. Unbelievably proud angler right there. Jack 'em jigs.
15 years I fished that jig and never caught a fish on it.
Now you have, and it's the wrong species.
Yeah, don't make the mistake I did.
So it does get pretty darn boring just staring at the water. So definitely, if we have enough guys on the boat, try and take shifts. Me and Chris just swapped out. He's looking now, I'm driving. And you know, you want to keep fresh eyes on the water, because if I'm getting distracted just doing other things, I'm not paying attention. But we're still meandering around this same area that we found 2 big manta rays in. Definitely think that there could be more. There's other boats looking here, so you know, it's just another good sign. We were here first too. They pulled up and started looking too, so maybe they know something. But talked to another guy that's out fishing, went to a different area, he didn't find anything, so he's headed here now. Hopefully between what we're looking at, what he's looking at, we find something really good. Hopefully we get some fish in the box, because it's feeling really fishy. Sun is high now, it's about noon. Some of the best viz that we're gonna get all day, so fingers crossed. Got a good feeling something can happen now. Soon after I filmed that clip, we got a report that there had been a ton of manta rays congregated in one area. So we put the boat in gear and ran over there as fast as we could. When we finally got to the spot, we weren't the only boat on these things. And there were tons of manta rays, but very few actually had fish. And those few that had fish didn't really seem like they wanted to eat. You really had to coax them. Oh, was it? Okay. Dude, I saw something.
It was, yeah, he flipped his wing up. I saw the tan. But I'm 90% positive it was a whale.
Okay. Got my heart going for a second.
Your eyes are starting to play tricks.
Yeah, well, you see what you want to see.
That's cool.
That's a grown one. There's a fish on his back. There we go. Drag's loose. See the fish at all? This fish looked like it was probably an inch or two short of legal size, but since we hadn't seen one, we wanted to do our best to try and get it to eat. Chris even dragged a live bait right in front of its face, and that one just didn't want anything to do with any of us. There we go. There's Cobia right there, right under the boat. Yeah, right under the boat. Yeah, Cobia right under the boat.
Oh,
Short one. Well, that was funny. I was here retying a rod, and I see a short Cobia pop up right below the boat. He just completely tail wrapped himself. Come on, buddy, unwrap.
Well, too small to keep. It's like a 20-incher, but we got us a Cobia in the boat. That was so funny. Literally, we're seeing all these rays over and over and over again. And then, don't catch one off a ray. We did see a fish on a ray that didn't want to eat, and then we just have a short, literally, just pop up behind the boat. I dropped the jig to it, I smoked the jig. So, yeah, that is the target species. But just absolutely not big enough. This is like a 22, 25-inch fish. They need to be 37 inches to the fork to keep, so well too small. Still ate the jig, and now he's gone. Now he's in the water.
Hold on, let me grab your camera.
Really, fish? Did it eat the first time?
Well, you didn't have to tell me that it was on there.
On where?
on the ray.
Team player.
You are a team player. I appreciate you. All right, we're getting a little bit bigger. Getting just a little bit bigger. We got another short fish on. Chris, we passed by another ray, and Chris is like, there's a fish on that one. It chased his jig in. Then I cast it out, and it ate my jig. Definitely a short. So I'm gonna pull him in the boat in a second, but he's a pretty looking fish. Look at that.
Even a little one goes absolutely bonkers. Way too small to keep. This is probably, 28-inch fish, getting a little bit bigger, but there's some around. We're starting to find some. I love when they're lit up. You see that lateral line light up? They don't always have that. Sometimes they don't always have that white stripe all the way down them, but they are super pretty. And as you see, when you pull them on the boat, they absolutely freak out. This little one was doing damage. A big one can do a ton of damage, especially with these big sharp spikes on top of them. But I want to get this guy back in the water pretty quick because he is not legal. So we want to let him go, let him grow, and then keep him one day. And he kicked out really fast. He did not want to be revived.
Okay.
So I've been in this YouTube thing for around 2-ish years now, and I've had tons of companies reach out to me, and 99% of them I say, no thank you, we're not a good fit. Every once in a while I run into a company that I think is awesome, and that's why I'm super happy to say that today's video is sponsored by Protekt. Protekt is a veteran-owned, and myself being a veteran, that's really important to me, company that makes all sorts of awesome products, but what we're talking about today is their hydration line. Hydration packets are probably one of my favorite things, especially when you spend a long day on the boat. What's different about Protekt is Protekt comes in liquid, so it's literally no mess. I can't tell you how many powder packets I've used over the years that are just a complete mess everywhere. These, literally rip the top off, squeeze it in, and they taste great. Hydration is huge when you're out on the water all day, and then when you run into a big fish, you don't want to cramp up. My man Tyler was cramping up earlier today when he was fighting a big jack. I bet you he probably is pretty dehydrated from a full day out here in the sun. So if you guys are interested in trying these awesome products made by an awesome company, I want you to go to protekt.com/RyanMorrie and use my code RyanMorrie to save yourself 30%. You can also save an additional 15% if you subscribe. Huge thank you to Protekt for sponsoring today's video.
We kept fishing pretty dang hard as the afternoon went on, bumping ray to ray, going south, going north, but just for the life of us, we couldn't find the right setup where a legal fish was on a ray and the fish wanted to eat. And I don't think I even heard of more than one boat catching a keeper on this day. So there just weren't big fish, big hungry fish around in the area, it seemed like.
So Viz is getting tough. I don't know if we're gonna see many more manta rays today, but if we don't, I'm gonna get back out here, try and do this again because I need a keeper cobia to make this video happen. So if you guys are watching this, something really cool might have happened. See you guys tomorrow, next day, whenever I'm fishing again. Good morning, y'all. We got an awesome crew of guys today. We got Ryan number 2, the second, more handsome, taller Ryan. We got Captain Tyler. We got Taylor. And then we got the mascot, River. Where? Yo! Whoa! So we are gonna hop out on the beach, look for a bunch of stuff that cobia might follow. Stay tuned.
Hot off the press, brand new news, front page, who is this? All black on, real low key, take a guess. I stand out from the rest, no contest. I've been the man, I am him. Only fear God with the fear God I'm in. Been blessed, prayed up, amen.
So we've been cruising around a lot this morning looking for the right conditions, looking for good water color, good water temperature, and just signs of life. We're looking for big manta rays. Ideally you see them on top of the water or jumping out of the water. But with this water color and with the current conditions, when we do see one jump out of the water, we're not able to find it very easily. Currently, right now, Tyler had just seen one jump. We headed out to the area and we're really having trouble locating it. So we're kind of cruising around, seeing if we can find it again, but at least we know that there are a couple out here at this point.
So we had some stuff working against us. The watercolor just wasn't great, but we did have some stuff working for us. The fact that Tyler's boat had a tower makes it a lot easier to spot stuff in the distance. The higher you are, the better you can see. But this is actually a great time to talk to you guys about kind of what I use for these cobia. To start with the rod, I like 8 feet in length because it's just long enough that I can cast far, but not too long to be awkward on a boat. I like it to be fairly stiff, but I like it to have just enough tip action that I'm going to be able to feel my jig and feel the sensitivity of what's going on. So that's why I'm using this Ocean Devil rod. This is the Diablo 150, actually made for popping for tuna, but this is a perfect rod for throwing heavier cobia jigs, like this jig that I'm using that's about 3 ounces. Cobia aren't the pickiest fish in the world, so all I look for in a jig is the right weight, around 2 to 3 ounces, and a nice hook, like 8.0 or 9.0, and that's all I need. I typically like to use Van Staals just because of the manual pickup. I really enjoy for sight casting fish. I think you just have great control over the line and exactly what the jig's doing, but any big spinning reel will work. I typically use PE4 or PE5 Silk Ocean braid. PE4 is a very similar diameter to a typical 40-pound braid, but this braid, this Silk Ocean, actually breaks at 70 pounds, giving you a great strength to diameter ratio. And just as always, you guys can save off of these rods and the braid that I use, Silk Ocean braids, if you use my code RYANMORIE. I have it linked down below. These combos are well overkill for the size fish that we've been catching so far in the video, but when fish like cobia have the potential to grow up to 70, 80 pounds, I always want to have a bigger setup ready because I don't want to be stuck with a undersized rod when I do hook one of those fish of a lifetime.
One of the reasons that cobia like to follow these big manta rays is because those manta rays have these giant wingspans. When they're up and down the beach, they're just kicking up sand and stuff like that. That's going to cause crabs, shrimp, and other life to just get kicked up that the cobia like to come in and eat. And also, I think sometimes, man, they just like cruising with them. I think the manta rays just find cool stuff that the cobia like to follow around. Like sometimes it seems like they're in an area where the manta ray's not going to be able to kick up anything, but I still see the cobia cruising with it. It's just kind of like in their nature to follow bigger swimming things like whales, manta rays, giant leatherback turtles. So when you see something like a giant leatherback or a manta ray, you know it's a good shot this time of year that they can have a cobia on them.
We continued pushing down the beach, and we were seeing a couple rays here and there, especially jumping off in the distance, but they disappeared just as fast as we saw them. I think we only got casts on 1 or 2, and then it was probably around 10, 11 in the morning. We had been looking for a while. Tyler was putting in a lot of work in the tower. I might have got distracted once or twice, but we won't talk about that because Tyler stopped the boat on 2 big manta rays. He said, dude, there's cobia all over one of them. And if sure enough, we looked and we saw 2 cobia swimming on the back of one of these big old manta rays.
See, there's cobia all over it. Oh, there's 2 of them. There's 2 of them. Cobia all over it. Get him, Ryan. Cobia all over it. What's up, Ruben?
2 rays.
Yeah, there's 2 rays. There's cobia on
I'll rig up one of those squids if they keep being like that.
I'm pretty sure I saw a bunch of brown spots on it. I saw one in the front of that first one. There's no way there's not a cobia on there.
Where did you put that squid? In the cooler?
Yeah, it's under Ryan's foot.
All right.
At least they're happy and staying up.
Yeah.
That's a big.
Yeah, well, that one might be a little bit past them.
There's the other one. Okay.
Yes, sir.
There we go. That's a fish.
Hell yeah, brother.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, what?
Good one, too. That's a keeper.
You want to gap that one or net it?
That looks like he looks close to the net.
Cool. That was sick. Shout out to Captain Tyler for finding them. Woo, hoo, hoo, hoo. Smoked the jig. Fish under a manta ray. That was so pretty looking. That was so pretty looking. Whew.
Destroy that net, but want me to gap it? It looked big enough. Let me get another look at it. I'm pretty sure it looked keeper. I think it's big.
I think you should net it. Yeah. It's gonna be so angry in that net, but he's close.
Try and get out of the net. I will. I'll just sweep them.
Good eye, Ty.
River, stop! Hey! River, you want your collar?
Spin him around.
River! Yes, sir.
There we go. Hell yeah. Woo!
Hey! Stop!
Let's go, boys.
Man,
Let's go. Come on.
Fish, dude. Hold on.
There you go. You can grab your rod. I'll deal with that.
He's, yeah, 37, almost 38.
He is, okay, that's lip on.
Zero.
Yeah, 37.
37.5 and 38.
Hell yeah.
All right. There we go, guys. I am stoked on that fish. Not a giant. It's a 37 incher. They got to be 36 inches to the fork, so it is a legal fish all day long. I actually bled it already, let it, calm down, because these things will freak out on the boat. And they got these crazy spines on top of them that are super sharp. That will jack you up if you're not ready, not paying attention. But man, I'm stoked on this. I chase these fish all the time, get skunked all the time, but they just keep me coming back for more. One of my favorites, grade 8 too, so you guys are gonna see a catch and cook in this video, which is awesome. And man, they love these jigs. Shout out to my buddy Tom Cruise that made this for me, sent it over. Custom made, handmade cobia jig. He absolutely smoked it. Not that they won't eat other stuff, but it was cool to see. And I'm stoked on this fish, stoked on the crew we got, and there's definitely plenty more fish to catch. So we're gonna get back out there, get back looking.
Hell yeah. Unfortunately, we weren't able to relocate the ray that had fish on it, but we continued looking for another couple hours, saw a couple more empty rays and a turtle, but really unfortunately, the weather forecast, like usual, wasn't what was forecasted. So we thought it was going to be calm until about 3-4 p.m. It actually was only calm until about 1 p.m. The ocean started to get really rough and it was time to head in.
So we thought we could catch a couple snook. Unfortunately, we didn't have enough baits. Broke off 2 fish under the bridge. They just weren't sitting in a place that could make it easy to catch them. Right now we gotta head back to the ramp, but what we still gotta do is we have to clean up that cobia and then we gotta cook it. As you guys know from other videos that I've talked about it, cobia fishing is very hit or miss. So this wasn't a typical charter that Captain Tyler would go on. But if you guys are in the Central Florida area and wanna go on a charter, what's the best way that people can get a hold of you?
You can look me up online, Florida Big Fish Adventures, or my social medias, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Tyler Wolcott.
That is flashing on the screen, link down below, and you typically do snook, redfish, inshore stuff up here in Central Florida.
Yeah, it's super time of the year dependent. This time of year, I like to do the cobia thing if the weather lets us get out there and do it. But we're catching redfish, snook. Tarpon will be here soon, so if you want to pull on some big red, some big snook, some big tarpon, hit me up.
Perfect. That'll all be linked down below, and absolutely was a great time today, and I'm stoked that we were able to at least get one cobia. So I will see you guys at the cleaning table. Yes, one of my favorite fish, honestly, like probably top 3 favorite fish for me. I actually want to get a weight on him real quick. I'm guessing he's probably like 21, 22 pounds, but just for fun. So you guys can see, scale is zeroed out.
You get millions of views though.
So we are looking at, wow, I was spot on, 21 pounds. So 21 pound fish, they get a ton bigger than that. My personal best is 70 pounds way back in the day when I was actually good at fishing. But I'm still very appreciative of this fish. It's been a long time since I got to sight fish one, catch one of these bad boys. But first thing I gotta do, these fish are super slimy, so I gotta rinse them off. The more slime I get off of him, the easier he will be to clean up. Won't be sliding around the table, I'll actually be able to get a grip on him. Oh. Even after the gravy's biting me. Give me my thumb back, buddy. Ow. They kind of got these tiny little teeth. Kind of feel like sandpaper, but they have like baby little hooks on them. So when you lip them, they'll tear you up a little bit. So like all fish, cobia will change colors based on, you know, after you catch them or even while you're catching them. These ones, you know, it's not quite like a dolphin or a mahi-mahi in like the blues and the greens and stuff like that. But their lateral line, you can see the remnants of it right here, will be like kind of a white stripe down them. And this is basically the same location that a snook has, and it always looks really, really cool. When you see cobia mounts, you'll kind of have that white line, and it's just beautiful. I want you guys to listen real quick, so we're gonna try and get quiet. That head is rock hard. It's this giant bone right here. You will not get a knife through that at all. It's just a big rock hard head. And then, if you look at them from the top down, you see their pectoral fins. That's why when a lot of people see these off of like piers and stuff like that, if they're not fishermen, they're like, oh, look at that shark. Because they do have a very similar profile to a shark. And when you hear when you hear someone say, oh, look at that mommy shark and all those little baby sharks, a lot of the time, it's a school of cobia. So that's just a little land-based fishing hack for you guys to pay attention to. So just gonna start out with one cut behind the pec fin, back towards the head. And again, these guys are very bony, and also they're one of the harder fish to fillet in my opinion because of this. Because of how round they are, they always want to roll, and this big head kind of makes it real awkward. I'll work down the spine of the fish. Just make that initial cut. Here, break through. get on that backbone. And work back towards the head again. And these guys also have a big, thick rib cage. We got to break through these pin bones up here. So we're gonna get our knife onto them. We're gonna turn it up. Now that we broke through the pin bones, I'm just gonna go over top that rib cage. Cobia's guts are particularly nasty, and I think it's because they're crustacean eaters. They love to eat crabs, and if you've ever smelled bad crabs, y'all, it is one of the most potent, pungent scents you will ever have to deal with. So that's why I really try and avoid cobia guts. Bang. Just gonna lay this fillet just on top of the ice here while I work on the other side. Same exact thing, back up towards the head and make that initial cut down the length of the fish, kind of just breaking that skin open, not going too deep. Definitely not a pro, but filleting is something that, you know, you try and take your time with and try and have respect for the fish that you are cleaning, and understanding that mistakes happen. You're not always going to get every little hunk of meat off of the fish, but you do try and do your best when you got a fish that you're proud of and you're happy to share with your friends and family. Broke through all those pin bones, got on top of that rib cage. They always seem to give me trouble with thick fish like this, big muscular fish with bigger bones. But again, didn't want to dive into those guts because they're a little bit disgusting. There is a cobia carcass. Cool fish, man. Now we gotta skim it out, bringing the fillet close to the edge of the table so I can keep my knife fairly flat as I go to skin. And even though we bled this fish, they still have a decent amount of bloodline, these fish do. Many pelagic fish are kind of like them, but just working the way down, following the back of the knife with my fingers, trying not to break through the skin, but also trying to get most of the meat off of it if I can. And just keep working my way up. Might break through the skin there just a hair. It's okay. And separate that last little bit. And there we have our cobia fillet. You see there's this decent amount of red. If you are eating it fresh, it's not that big of a deal. If you are gonna try freezing this fish, which it kind of freezes okay, it's not the best freezing fish because of that thicker amount of blood, you definitely wanna cut as much out because the bloodline spoils super fast. That'll turn brown, black even, after a couple days in the fridge. So definitely not like a steak. Doesn't last nearly as long as beef. Very last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to feel for these pin bones here. And you notice I'm laying this fish down on the skin. I'm using the skin as kind of like a protectant. I don't need to like lay it on a bunch of different surfaces and taint it in any way. I'm actually, because these guys have bones that go very far down, I'm actually just gonna cut this bloodline out dead from the center. And there we go. We're gonna bag her up, put her in the kitchen, then we gotta head to the grocery store and grab a bunch of ingredients for tonight's dinner because Christina's family is coming over and we're gonna feed them cobia for what I think might be the first time for a lot of them. Welcome to the kitchen. We have a nice big old bag of cobia that looks amazing. I think it's gonna be really good. And we got a bunch of awesome ingredients. So we're gonna be doing something I've never done with fish, but it's a very popular presentation. We're gonna be doing a nut-crusted cobia. We're actually gonna coat it with a little bit of panko seasoning and some crushed pistachios that Christina just went to town on with a little mallet. And I'm really excited for this. And we have like 11 minutes before Christina's family gets here. So see if we can make this whole meal in 11 minutes.
Speed cooking.
Not convinced I will. We're gonna make this happen, but we'll see. So I got a hot pan with some oil in it, and I'm just gonna go in with one whole shallot. We're gonna saute this down. It's gonna be nice and fragrant. So we're gonna add just a little bit of salt on top of the shallot. Then we're gonna stir in. This is 3 chopped garlic cloves and a little bit of fresh thyme. I'm gonna reduce the heat down. Kind of had it on medium high for the shallot, and now don't want to burn that garlic. The thyme is really fragrant, bringing a lot. And this is kind of making a lot of flavors just kind of start in our pan, because this is what we're gonna cook all of our crusting in, all of our nuts, the panko breadcrumbs. So all of this is just starting a real nice base for what crust is gonna go on that fish.
It smells.
It is very fragrant right now.
Delicious.
We might have messed up that clip, but essentially I just added in equal parts panko breadcrumbs and some crushed pistachios to that mixture that we already had cooking. So this, I'm gonna stir pretty frequently. I'm gonna kind of cook this down for about 8 minutes or so, something like that. So all those flavors are gonna meld together. And once this is cooked down, we're gonna remove it from the pan, and this is gonna be our crust for our fish. So we're kind of cooking the crust before we put it in the oven. So we've had some potatoes boiling for a bit, and we are just putting those onto a sheet pan right now. I got my oven preheated to 425, and if you guys watched the last catch and cook that we did, we made this similar side, but Christine's family has never had this side, so we're gonna make it for them. I love this. It's just a smashed potato recipe, and if you guys have not tried it, you absolutely need to try it. It's one of my favorite preps for potatoes. Make something that's, you know, my literal test for if they're done or not when I'm boiling them is I just grab the tongs and squeeze them, and if they start to smush, then I'm good to go. Just like the name smashed potatoes, literally we're just taking a whiskey glass and just pushing these guys down until they're pretty flat. Well, that one was easy. That was a soft boy. Now that we got all smashed out, I realized that we probably overcooked them just a little bit, but I'm just gonna cover them with a little bit of olive oil, about 1 tablespoon for the whole sheet pan. A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, some garlic powder, goes on everything. And the final ingredient, a little Parmesan cheese. And I just throw these in the oven for 10, 15 minutes, something like that. Oven's on 425. Kind of just want to toast them, make them a little bit crispy. So now we need something to help the breadcrumbs adhere to the fish. So I'm just gonna start out with a little bit of plain Greek yogurt, a little bit more than a tablespoon. Come in. Something like that, about 2 tablespoons or so. Now, we have to add some lemon zest.
Okay.
I mean, I could get the yolk out and just hold on to the egg white, but just the yolk. There you go. Nice.
Nice.
All right. And lastly, just 1 egg yolk. Mix this all together. So like with any fish, once you bag it up and put it in the fridge, it's gonna start to release a little bit of liquid. So we wanna kind of pat these dry, and that's also just gonna clean up any scales or anything, any scales or anything that we miss at the fillet table, because we don't rinse these off with fresh water. Fresh water is gonna start to degrade the quality of meat with saltwater fish. So we just literally double check everything, making sure we're looking good. It's all cleaned off nicely. Next step is I'm just gonna brush the tops of each of these pieces with our mixture. And this is gonna help everything adhere to the top of the fish. The pistachios and everything is gonna be very, very flavorful, very nutty. There's gonna be a lot to it and plenty of crunch. So we don't need to coat the entirety of the fish. We're just gonna put the pistachios on top. Let's see how this goes. I haven't done this before, so we'll see how well this adheres. I'm pretty sure we should be able to get a very nice bit of our breading to stick to everything here. And I can always hand sprinkle a little on the top after the fact. Kind of press that into there. that it does. It smells really good.
I know.
300 degrees on the oven, so not too hot. These guys are gonna cook for about 20-ish minutes. Internal temp's supposed to be like 135-ish, so I might check on them after like 15.
What are you doing in here?
We're gonna make like a summer salad concoction. So I'm gonna make my own dressing. I'm gonna start with 1/2 cup of vinegar, apple cider vinegar, 2 tablespoons of honey, and we're gonna put some garlic powder in, 1/2 teaspoon of Dijon mustard in. I'm going in with some olive oil, some salt, and black pepper. And this is gonna be our vinaigrette. You have to taste it first. And last, we're going to add some fresh squeezed lemon juice. You could add some lemon zest too, but I think I'm good with the lemon juice. Okay, so next we have our spring mix here. We're going to add in all our ingredients. So we have some thinly sliced apples. And this is a pretty big salad, so we have a lot of this stuff. I'm calling this a summer salad. We have lots and lots of strawberries. Okay, and we're gonna sprinkle some, just a few blueberries in there just for some color. And we'll put some walnuts.
Not stressed, are you?
No, just hungry. We're gonna put some walnuts in here. I almost forgot the most important part. We have to take our feta. Just like on our salad.
You didn't say it.
What?
Because everything's better with feta.
Oh,
Get it?
yep.
We are going to dig in. What are you hiding? Are you scared, Sarah? All right, we're gonna dig in. I hope this turned out good. So we have 1 clean plate, 1 moderately clean plate. What did you think?
I thought it was great. I really wanted to try the pistachio crusted preparation, and we finally got like a nice thick piece of meat, which was the cobia, and I hope you catch more cobia.
Oh, me too.
It was great. Yeah, it was great.
It's one of my favorite fish to catch. Very special video for me, and I wish we caught more, but we still have probably another month or so while they're here. So I'm gonna be out on the boat trying to find a couple more, maybe on the pier trying to find a couple more, but absolutely more videos to come. And if you guys are interested in watching another epic video, YouTube thinks you're gonna like this one right here, and we'll see you guys over there.